Hello and welcome to my cow parsley tutorial part 2. Hopefully by now you will have already stitched the stems. If not, I'll put a link below. You can go back and watch part 1. So just starting here again with a waist knot, and a couple of little tiny stitches just to secure so that you don't have a knot at the back of your work, and just put the stitches where you know you're going to be covering it up with some other stitches. So here we're going to be doing lots of French knots, so that's fine. So onto the French knots. So you bring your needle up and pull your thread here to the left. You wind your thread once, twice over the top of your needle, and then you put the needle back down sort of like one thread along from where you came up. Keep it taut and then pull it through. And that is your first French knot done. Let's get rid of the knot here. Make sure when you're doing this that you do pull the thread up so that you don't put a hole in your work. And it's a good idea to get rid of that knot quite quickly actually, because you don't want it getting in the way of your French knots. So needle up, pull the thread to the left, fairly taut, once, twice over the needle, put the needle back almost in the same place and pull through, keeping the thread taut. And then you get a nice crisp French knot. Oops, sorry, it's got a bit out of focus there. Third one, so up, bring your thread over, once, twice over the needle, needle back in almost in the same place, keeping it taut, pull it through. Don't worry if you make a mistake. If you make a mistake, which you inevitably will, just get a sharp pair of scissors, cut it back and start again. And once you get into the rhythm of doing that, it's the most relaxing thing. Pop another one in the middle, so up, over twice, back in. So if you do have a Frixion pen, what's a really good idea at the moment is that you could actually, to make you feel more confident, you could put little circles around to give you a guide. Overlap them a little bit so it looks a bit more natural. It might make you feel a little bit more confident. If you don't need them, that's great. And you don't have to do put the loop over twice every time. You can do it once, you can vary them, which gives a nice sort of depth. So that's just the one twist, and you can build it up. So I've used one strand of Anchor 830 and one strand of DMC 3865, just because it gives a little bit more depth and texture to it. But what you could also do is use 2 strands of one colour or 2 strands of another colour and then mix them. You'll have fun doing that. I'm actually using a little embroidery stand here, it's called a seat, to help me, because it's easier for the tutorial. I'll try and put a link for that below, but it's not necessary. I do most of my French knots without that, but in case you're wondering what I'm using, I'm just using that to help me, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to show you properly. And the more of these you do, you'll get a nice jumbled frothy effect. Or you might want to keep it a bit more stylised and keep the French knots apart. You choose. And you don't want perfect circles because, as I've said before, nature isn't perfect. So in fact, I like to just have one that I sort of stand out on its own, overlap them. Just think of how cow parsley looks. It doesn't look perfect. And whenever you do, it will look fabulous. So you finished your cow parsley, well done you. It should be looking absolutely beautiful. You can make this as intricate as you like, as I've said before. You can add far more French knots if you want to have that nice frothy look. You can do them face on so that you can't see the stalks at all. You can vary the colours. I've done silhouettes, so that I've done white cow parsley on black linen or black thread on white linen, which is really striking. Mix your threads, as I've said before, and yeah, just mix them up. You can use a little bit of each one. Just have fun, there are no rules, and you can just basically embroider cow parsley everywhere. You can put whip stitch over these stems if you want to as well, but I'll show you that perhaps another time. I think it looks lovely as it is. That's all you've got left over, is just a few little threads, and any embroidery thread that you have left over, just wind it back onto your peg, ready for next time so that there's no wastage. Make notes of the colours that you've used as well for next time, because sometimes you're particularly pleased with something after the event. You think, what colours did I use? So keep a little notebook. I have got a few little handmade notebooks actually in my Etsy shop, if you would like a little notebook with cow parsley on. Yeah, so as I've said, you can whip stitch along it, perhaps try some different flowers as well. What would be really nice to try is perhaps some lavender. So here I've just clustered, I've used the same stem stitch, and then I've just put lots and lots of French knots together to give a sort of 3D look, mixing all different lavenders. Just have fun with it. You'll be doing French knots all the time. So I'll show you now actually the next stage. So just loosen off your hoop once you've finished and pop your embroidery out, and you will be left with a mark. I should say, by the way, I always do embroidery if I'm doing it on my lap. I always will have a clean tea towel. I've bought tea towels and towels just purely for my embroidery to keep it clean. I'm doing this on my desk, which I clean every day before I sew anyway, so that's fine. If your embroidery has got a bit dirty and you've been doing it over a period of time, just give it a gentle wash in a hand detergent. Don't rub, just a gentle wash, and then you're ready for the next stage. But how pretty is that? I don't know if you use the PDF actually, or whether you've done your own design, but don't forget to hashtag, because I would love to see it. Sherry Iris embroidery, or Sherry Iris cow parsley. So now you've done your embroidery, you just need to get rid of maybe any pen marks that you've got left there, and we want to get rid of that mark that the hoop is left, which is particularly difficult on linen. So I was on the back, just give a gentle spray around the mark where the hoop was, just some water, not too much, you don't want to drench it, and then just iron over. You shouldn't need steam. Make sure you're not touching your stitches, and get rid of that mark. It should come away quite quickly and easily. So I haven't actually put any water on the embroidery. Then this is where you want your clean towel, and you put your embroidery face down, so your stitching, your knots will go onto the towel, and the towel will absorb the stitches if you like. And then you just need to give a gentle iron, so let the iron glide over, don't press too much, and as the stitches will disappear into the towel, you're not doing them any damage. So then this is the best bit. You take it off, and there's your lovely embroidery. And the great thing about using the towel is that all of the work that you've done with those French knots, you can see they're still standing proud. So that's what you're after. Isn't that lovely?